So, welcome to Driven to Discuss, where Rich Warne and myself we bring on random guests every other week so far, and we talk about stuff that has to do with the trucking industry in particular. And hopefully, it'll be some interesting topics that you can learn something from. You can discover other channels because some of our guests have YouTube channels or even podcasts. And just a time for us to relax and talk, like just bunch of truck driver guys just hanging out and talking. So this week, this is our first week. This is our first episode, and we got Dirty Broke, which that's his YouTube channel. He's got a podcast called the Track Prod Podcast. I've been on it. Really cool podcast. I would suggest you check that out. I just they do it all live and some really, really good stuff. A lot of it has to do with fuel hauling and that kind of thing. And and Dirty Broke's got a lot to add here, I think. So let me go ahead and introduce him. This is my friend Dirty Broke. How you doing there?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good, good.
Mhm.
So today I was hoping maybe we can talk about probably the fuel hauling because you work for Loves, right?
Yep.
Which is they have their own trucking
Gem
company, which is
yeah,
called Gemini. Yeah,
Gemini Motor Transport.
yeah, and you got 4 generations of truck drivers in your family, your granddad, your dad, you, and then, your daughter. That's pretty awesome. So, I mean, you got a lot of knowledge to share there. Although your dad and granddad, they didn't do fuel though, did they?
No.
So, still though, still part of the industry.
Right.
Was your dad and your granddad like long haul truckers? What did they do?
No, all local. Never went
Really?
over the road. Yep. Never
So
went over
a
the road.
lot of as most people know, Don and I both actually work for Walmart. We get a lot of drivers that come to Walmart from hauling fuel. Everybody that comes over there says there's not enough money in hauling fuel and running local. So what kind of money does your family make running local that you guys have never gone to Walmart to long haul or something like that?
I don't even know what kind of money my grandfather made and my father, but doing what we do, most drivers around here do six figures in the Pennsylvania area. Now, of course, this can vary from, different regions, different parts of the country. But in Pennsylvania, where I live at, yeah, most drivers here do six figures on a 5-day schedule.
Okay, so you guys work
You know,
10, 12, 14 hours a day? Like, I mean,
we're,
everybody says you haul and fuel, you get home every day, but by the time you get home, you just go to bed. You don't really have a family life. So what's family life like working local hauling fuel?
well, I think if you don't have things planned out, it could seem like that. Like, just give you an example. Today, this is all last minute. You guys put this together, and I already have my day planned out what I was going to do. And I got the call from Don and said, "Hey, you available for a Yeah, all right, squeeze it in." I came home, I cut the grass, I did some trading on the stock market, and here I am. So it's all about how you manage your time. If you're going to be local, you definitely have to manage your time because we do at work, we do 12-hour shifts. So if I'm
So you're
working 12, go
early
ahead.
morning, right? Early
Yes,
morning.
I start at the top of the morning at midnight.
Is it better pay running nights? Is there a pay difference?
It is a pay differential, but for some reason, kind of screwed myself on that because at night you get a dollar more, but I'm right at midnight. So technically, I'm an AM driver. So if I would have started at 11:59, I could have got that dollar.
Wow.
I picked the schedule. I set the schedule for myself of what time I wanted to work.
So how long have you been there? Because I'm sure a new driver, like if I was to come over, I probably wouldn't get that same deal.
No, you're probably going to go in wherever they need you at for the most part. But if you get your time here, and most of the time, if you're going to a new location, like say a brand new store is opening up, you're the first driver there, you can pretty much set your schedule within reason of what they have an idea of what they want to do. They say, I think this works a little bit better for me. Let me start at this time. And they'll probably try to accommodate you, especially if you've been with the company for some time.
So you said drivers are making six figures. So like, is that a new driver? Like a driver off street, would they come in and make 100, 110?
I'll give you an example. And I did the interview with my daughter. I don't know if Don, you seen that interview. Her first year, now she's a brand new truck driver. She made 120,000, 119 and change. Brand new truck
Wow. And she's home hauling fuel like with Gemini.
every night. right here with me.
Yeah, but I think she might be the exception because she comes from a family of hustlers, so she was on it right out.
And I told her how to make money here. How to make money here is being available when the truck's available. Because, like I said, we slip seat. So when the next guy's out, you're in. So if the next guy, like say for instance, he's done 2 hours early, you try to get in 2 hours early. So that could turn your 12 into 14 because we on hourly pay. So
Okay,
you
but
might
not
have
but you still gotta have your 10-hour break and all that stuff, right? Or
correct.
okay.
Yep. You still need your 10-hour break. Yep.
Okay.
A lot of communication between you and all the other drivers, so you
Absolutely.
get the most benefit out of your day.
Absolutely.
So
Trying to
you still you
maximize
get paid you said you get paid hourly, so is that the same hourly across the nation, or is it different from place to place? What is the hourly pay at Gemini?
place to place
Starting
is
out.
different. It all
Okay.
depends on what part of the country. The lowest I think is $27 an hour. I think that's the lowest they start out at, and the highest I think is 37 for brand new drivers an hour. So, yep.
Wow. So how does that was there like a is there a s like a layering, like 5 years you go to this? Is there a max? Like, how does the pay schedule work over time?
Well, the pay schedule over time, and this is relatively new. When I first started here, we were actually on load pay. So what they did was they have this thing called a what the heck they call it? Shoot, they then changed the name on it. I forget what you call it. It's basically like time of service, how long you've been here. So they had to work that in with the guys that were already here. So we didn't come in at a low rate. I didn't come in at what they are bring a new driver in at. So they had our time of service in there, plus on top of your area's hourly rate. So just to give you an example, I think in Pennsylvania it's $32 an hour for brand new drivers to come in. So, and that's pretty much how that works.
For Pennsylvania area, is that a good starting wage?
But it's kinda like in the middle of the road. It's not the best, it's not the worst. So it's kinda in the middle of the road at 32 bucks an hour. Because it's
So you're
companies over here that
you're
pay up in the 40s. Mm.
you live next to a major city, right? And you run in,
No,
I
I
forget.
I I actually don't. No, no, I'm out in the sticks.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Oh,
yeah,
okay, that makes difference, yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are the benefits? One of the benefits, like you guys you said you get paid by the hour. I don't know if this is not a union position. So what is like
No.
maybe like your retirement, your benefits, your healthcare? What's that kind of stuff like?
So the healthcare, just talking to other drivers, and Don knows I talk to a lot of different drivers all the time. So compared to other drivers, our insurance package is pretty competitive, and I will put it up at the higher end at companies that have to pay for benefits. So we do have a benefit package. We have a health savings account and things of that. 401k matching up to 5%. They just moved that to 5%. Dollar for dollar. Because heck, man, when I first started here, I think they gave us 3%. You know, so something like that. 50 cent on the first 3% or something like that. I forget 3.5%.
Yeah,
It's
it's usually
something crazy.
50 cents on the dollar up to 3%, and
Yeah,
then
something
it's a
like that.
dollar for dollar after that, blah, blah, blah. That's industry
Yeah,
standard for this long.
ours never went for the dollar for dollar. Ours stayed at the 50 cent
But it
for
just
3.
recently went dollar for dollar?
Yeah, I think last few years, maybe 3, 4 years ago, it went dollar for dollar up to 5%.
Okay.
So that was pretty nice that they did
So
that for us.
so this sounds like a great job. And you said new drivers, like how long do you not like straight out of school new? Do you gotta have like 1 year, 6 months? What do you gotta have?
Straight out of school, they'll bring you. If you graduated from an accredited school, you can get hired here. But not to say everybody can make the cut, because it just doesn't work that way. But
Okay, so what's the cut? How do you get in?
the best way to get in is to know somebody.
Okay.
Is to know somebody.
I had a brother-in-law, he passed away, but he did that. He came right out of school up there in the Washington area where, up around where you're at, well, actually on the other side of the mountain. And, straight out of school, he went into fuel hauling because he knew somebody. And then within, I forget what it was, 6 months, he was, onto a better company making a lot of money, and that's all new. That never happened, I remember back in the old days. I mean,
Absolutely. It was unheard of. When I first started, I was like, huh? Would they actually do that here?
I was watching a YouTube short the other day, and, it was a Mexican guy, and he's just hustling and working, and this guy's trying to interview him, ask him a few questions, and he goes, "No, they take you right on." right out of school. You go in here, come right in here. So I think it's pretty common now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember I've been driving for about 11, maybe 12 years now. And when I got out of school, I went to a 4-week school, credited, but it was a local school, wasn't a college. And I think my first year, most of the companies, you had to have at least a year to get into them. There were a couple like Swift, Schneider, or you had to find a mom and pop place that could take you on and afford the insurance because that's the main reason for that. And I think my first year I made $59,000, and that was like the most money I've ever made in my life.
Hmm.
So the wages have come up a long way. And my oldest son just got his CDL last year, and instead of going over the road, he ended up working for the county, snow plowing, paving roads. But he's their only CDLA driver. So anytime they need something with a CDLA, he's the guy that does
He's the guy.
everything. So it's kind of job security being the only guy with that license.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
absolutely.
All right. Well,
Yeah, well, I had a question there. Now that's
okay.
my.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
So it sounds like Gemini is a great place to work, but if somebody was to ask you, what is the one bad thing about working there? What's the one bad thing about working at Gemini?
That I would say, and this is going to vary from person to person. We're all different. For me, is the getting up at midnight, or me, in my case, at 11 o'clock at night, going to work in the middle of the winter.
Oh,
That's like
you're on
that's
the East
like
Coast, so
the
your
I'm
winters
on
aren't nice.
not nice at all. So that is the worst. If I had to, give a complaint about that, and that would be it for me. Some other people it might be something different, but for me, that's the hardest part. Getting up at 11 o'clock at night and it's 1 degree outside, snowing sideways. That's like the worst.
I'm originally from the Chicago area, so I'm used to lake effect snow, -20 wind chill, all that kind of stuff that happens in the
Mhm.
wintertime. So now I've recently moved out to the Pacific Northwest area in Washington, and it's last winter they did barely even got snow, but when they did, it was a dusting like an inch, and they shut the town down. I was like,
Yep.
"This is you people." Just laugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you think your question, Don?
Uh, no, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
It,
You
it,
just
yeah,
looked like
that's
you had something going across your eyes. I thought maybe you remembered what it was.
No, no, you're good. Well, what I was gonna say was that I think at this point, maybe we could take a quick break, and then so you have the Warren report, which for people that don't know what that is, it's some trucking stories related to the industry, and I think some of them might be funny or just relevant to what we're talking about. But let's take a break, and then we'll come back to that, and we'll give Dirty Broke a breather there for a minute.
All right, guys, I'm Rich Warren. This is the Warren Report. So basically, what the Warren Report is going to be is I've got funny stories. Maybe they're serious stories, crazy stories, interesting stories. They might be trucking related, they might not be. It's just a little bit of entertainment here in the Warren Report. One of the stories I found today I thought was kind of interesting, was there was a zebra in Tennessee, a pet zebra that had escaped from the person's home in Rutherford County. And the Rutherford County Sheriff said the zebra had crossed over I-24, had escaped into the woods, and as of right now, the zebra is still on the loose. And they had video footage of this zebra running down Interstate 24. I could only imagine trying to drive through the city seeing a zebra. And I thought to myself, I'm like, why would somebody have a zebra? Come to find out, zebras are actually legal to own as pets in the state of Tennessee. There was also in Washington, in my neck of the woods, there was a semi that had rolled over and released 14 million bees into the area. 2 dozen beekeepers actually came to the highway to help rescue the bees, find all of the queens so that they could relocate them back to a habitat of where people could collect the honey and do all the stuff that they were doing. They said that anybody or any of the bees that didn't find their queens would just become wild. And it kind of made me think of those times where the Amish people go out into the city for 6 weeks or whatever to sow their oats before they decide to stay in the Amish community or leave. So maybe these are Amish bees. I'm not really sure. And one of the other stories I saw, this is kind of like on a sadder note, is in the month of April and May, there were a lot of trucking companies that filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy or complete bankruptcy. LTI filed April 2nd, April 23rd, a Florida-based company, Davis Express, which I've actually heard of that one, May 14th, AZA Trucking filed for bankruptcy. May 21st, Elite Carriers and their affiliates filed for Chapter 11. And just recently, a company called K Power and Reliable Health Associates, which had $1 to $10 million in assets, filed for bankruptcy. They owed FedEx $1.3 million alone in their money that they owed people. Their locations were McDonough, Georgia, Olive Branch, Missouri, New Brunswick, Mississippi, New Brunswick, New Jersey, Clarksville, Tennessee, and Arlington, Texas. They had over 5,000 employees who are now looking for work. And Dirty Broke, you had mentioned earlier in our show that you were buying stocks or something right before you came on. What do you think guys could have done to protect themselves, or any driver for that matter, when something like this happens financially? How would you suggest guys kind of protect themselves against something like this?
Yeah, one of the first things you want to try to be is debt free, even before you get into buying stocks, trading stocks, and things of that sort. And I try to tell people that all the time. Just try to get your home expenses extremely low. Don't spend everything you make. And and that helps protect you in trucking. Trucking can be very volatile, up and down. You guys know, you guys been trucking for quite some time, and this is how this what works for me. I just try not to live beyond my means. I just keep it simple, keep a basic lifestyle. Don't drive a fancy car. Don't live in a great big expensive house and nothing like that. And you always have a couple bucks. Always put something away, and it's always something that you can use to invest. And I just do a little bit every week.
I hear people talking all the time when guys become owner operators, they start bringing in two, three, $400,000 a year. And I've always noticed the first thing those guys do is they buy a big house, they buy a boat, they buy all these toys, and they just spend their money and then they go out of business because they don't have anything saved back. But just
Mhm.
a second ago, while you were kind of talking about that stuff, you sound like you almost have like a plan. Do you do teaching or conferencing on the side as a side business?
Nope.
Oh,
I
okay.
just this is something that I go ahead. Go ahead, Don.
I was just, I was gonna say I recognize something there, and it may just be coincidence, but so you go with Dave Ramsey's plan, the baby steps.
Of course, I listen to a lot of Dave Ramsey and others too. I just try not to key on one particular person because a lot of things that Dave Ramsey, he talks about, it doesn't resonate with me. Some of it does,
Yeah.
some of it doesn't. You know what I mean? So I just pick a little bit off it, people I come across. And if I like it, I just try to implement it into what I do.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
the baby step thing, basically they want you debt free, and it makes
absolutely.
sense,
Right.
totally debt free. And then I think the fourth step, I don't know them by heart, but try to like get an emergency, more of an emergency fund,
Emergency fund.
7,000,
Absolutely.
like 6 months of expenses, what it costs to run your house. Which my eyes roll when I hear that because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you might as well ask for $1 million, you know.
Well, like
Mhm.
Dirty Broke just said, though, the key one is being debt free, but the other key that he mentioned was keeping your monthly expenses as low as possible.
As low as possible. Absolutely.
Budget. Yeah, budget.
Absolutely.
There you go. Budgeting
I
very
have a
appealing.
budget. I have a spreadsheet that I work on every month. I have a budget, so I'm assuming Dirty Broke does. Don, you run a budget?
Um, no.
That's why he got the
Mhm.
money.
Yeah.
We've been working on it. We've done a budget in the past and we'll veer off it, but things happen in life. And then,
In the same era.
point, you know, where
I
you
mean,
get
none of us are perfect.
unexpected and then you got to get back on track again, that kind of,
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Beautiful.
when it comes to retirement, is stocks the best way to go about it, or should somebody do simple like a 401k? In your opinion, what do you think is the best way to save for retirement?
The easiest way for me, because I do have a 401k at work, that's like the easiest thing to do. That's a set it, forget it, it's gone. I have the money, have my contribution going in, and that's pretty much it. It comes out of your check weekly. You don't even see it. So it gets in there, it gets the compounding, and that's the
So
easiest way.
do you decide what you invest your money in on the 401k? Because we have a deal
Yes.
like that where you can decide, or you can just say, I don't know anything. You guys do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Because usually if you don't pick anything, they'll put you in what they call a targeted fund. A targeted fund is basically set up for when you plan on retiring at a particular age. And they'll have a fund set up for that. Those are like the easiest things to do. Those are not the best for growth per se, because you can leave a lot of money on a table if you go with a targeted fund. But I would advise a targeted fund for somebody that didn't know anything about this, because it's like one of the easiest things to do.
That's
You just say, I'm retiring in 25 years, whatever year that is, boom, they got a fund for that. And it goes in 5-year increments. You know what I'm saying? So that's
so
the
what
easiest thing to do.
Go ahead, Rich.
I was just going to ask, what stocks were you buying? If that, is that public knowledge, can we know what you're into?
Yeah, I pretty I mean, I'm not real I don't do anything crazy. I pretty much do what most people do. I buy the big boy blue chips for the most part. Those are the top, the top 5, top 7 companies traded in the S&P 500. It's no secret, right? That's like the thing to do. Like, it's pretty easy to do that. So that's pretty much what I do. Now, I will veer off and take a stab at low cost stocks, try to get something real low, something relatively cheap, 3, 4 bucks, and try to take it up. Pretty much in tech, because I
Okay.
feel comfortable in that realm, and that's just pretty much what I do. Like, for instance, right now, one of the ones I use is a stock called Serve. The ticker symbol is SERV, Serve Robotics. And that popped on my radar by listening to another YouTuber. So I did a little bit of my research on it. And I'm sure you guys heard of NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA invested a lot of money into this Serve Robotics, and it was relatively cheap. It was like, at the time I bought it was like $5.50. Right now it's up to like $12 or something right now. So I just bought a ton of that. So just stuff like that.
Okay. And the reason I ask these questions, I know nothing about, and I was, when Don told me that you were into finance and stuff, I was like, oh, this is going to be great because I don't know anything about this kind of stuff. So I knew I was going to have some questions because I'm just now getting to the spot where I'm going to retire in about 15 years. I've got
Mhm.
my 401k at work. It's done really well this past year, but it's only got like 50,000 in it right now. And I'm thinking to myself, in the next 15 years, what do I need to do to have myself ready to retire somewhat comfortably? And you hear things like there's annuities that you can get from insurance companies, there's stocks, there's your 401k, there's IRAs, there's all this stuff. I mean, crypto. I've got a buddy of mine that's talking, all the time. He's like, dude, you really need to get into crypto. You need to get into crypto. So I just recently just kind of dipped my toe a little bit into crypto. So do you have advice for somebody in a situation like me, doesn't really know a lot about what's going on and what should they do? I mean, is crypto a good idea? Should I get into that? Maybe not.
No, well, I'm not really a crypto guy, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you you can't make money at it, because that's just not true. You can make some good money at it. I don't like, and it's just me personally, I don't like, because it's so many different crypto coins and stuff like that you can buy. I'm a simple guy. If I'm going to go into crypto, and I own a little bit of Bitcoin.
Okay.
That's like the flagship. And if you look at Bitcoin, look at its inception, look at it where it's today, I think the last time I checked, it was like 111,000
Yeah.
or something like that, whatever it is. When I first got it, it was about 36,000, right? And then I think it went up to like 40,000, and then it went backwards, and I bailed out. You see what I'm saying? So if you're going to do this kind of stuff, just put in the kind of money that you can afford to let ride. You got to be able to do that, because if not, you're going to do what most people do. They'll get in, it'll start tanking, they'll grab that money and they'll run. You got to
That's,
be able
I
to
kept
ride
hearing
this
that
thing.
during this last dip that we had and COVID and all that. I kept hearing that same message because people would take their money out of their 401k, and people and all the experts would say, don't take the money out, let it fill back up, let it go, it will come back. And people did, and then
Absolutely.
they lost everything.
Now, when it comes to my 401 and stuff like that, I don't touch it. I don't care what the market does. I keep buying. I keep buying dollar cost average. I do the same thing every week. I take a certain amount out of my check every week. Like, of course, I have my automatic on it, my 5% match going into my 401k. And then I have my personal IRA that I do, and I make my own purchases there. And I do that every Monday. Of course, I could do that up to $8,000, because that's my max. I'm over 50 years old. So the max you can do is $8,000 in that a year. And that's just what I do there. And then once I get those two, pretty much taken care of, get those maxed out, and then what I'll do, I'll go get me a little bit of Bitcoin. And that's just what I do.
I can't wait to see what the comments are gonna be like underneath this video because I bet there's gonna be a lot of people are gonna have a lot of different opinions. There's gonna be a little bit of a
Oh,
tussle.
absolutely. It's like trucking. You know what I mean? Everybody's got an opinion. If it is, but it is what it is. You have to do what's comfortable for you at the end of the day. And the only reason why I took that money out of Bitcoin because I just wasn't comfortable with it. And I kicked
Yeah.
myself in the butt. So, but when it comes to stocks and stuff like that, I'm very comfortable with it. Hey man, the stock market dirty. The stock market's in the tall. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go buy me some more.
Yeah, I always hear buy the dip. I hear that all the time. Buy the dip.
There you go.
Well, I look at some of the Walmart drivers that I've known over the years that retired, and I think I said it on your podcast there, Dirty Broke on
Hmm.
they retired, 1.5, 1.7 million. But the thing is, they didn't just put into their 401k and leave it alone. What they did was they were like, probably like us, like, I don't know anything about this in the beginning. And then pretty soon you start getting interested. But
There
these
you go.
guys, there's a lot to learn here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All of them got financial advisors for someone to help take care of that for them.
Hmm.
But they didn't just put the money in and then left it. They got more involved as they got older because they learned.
Hmm.
You
Yep.
know,
So what
That's
does your
pretty much it.
retirement plan look like? Like what is your dream? What do you want to do when you retire?
Um, I don't know if I'll ever retire per se. Um, I'm a truck driver, man. I'm probably going to always do this in some form of fashion. Will I be going to work at midnight every night? No, I'm not going to be doing that. But and me and my wife, we talk about this all the time. If my health holds up, I probably will continue to work here on a part-time basis, just to keep me busy, just to keep me moving, because it's
So
very easy work.
do you
Yeah.
have any toys or hobbies or things that you plan on doing when you retire?
Absolutely. I'm going to motorcycle as much as I can, weather permitting, which in Pennsylvania, we get, short summers.
2
So,
months out of the year?
yeah, yeah, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
but you guys there, you
I don't know if some of the people that I'm sorry, what, Don?
oh, I was gonna say he's already there now because you're out riding that bike and probably got other people you ride with, right?
absolutely, every weekend we rode this past weekend. It was nice out. We got on the bike actually Friday because I had a 3-day weekend. I took an extra day off. So
So
we've been
for
used to
people that watch my channel, the last video I think I've done was my dad passed away in August and I inherited his 2017 customized Harley Davidson trike. And the last thing he wanted to do was he wanted to have ghost skulls painted into the bike. So I took his tax return, I took it to a shop out in near Seattle, and I had them paint the ghost skulls on it. And the one thing he was supposed to come out this summer and we were going to ride the Oregon coast because everybody says that's one of the most beautiful places in the country to take a bike. So that's one of the places I want to go. I've heard over in Tennessee, everybody tells me don't do it, but there's the Dragon's Tail. I guess it's extremely dangerous. I heard that's a nice ride. What's the place you like to ride out by you?
any and everywhere. I don't have any favorite places. I just need to get on and just go. And the kind of riding I like to do is no destination riding. Me and my wife, we just grab a bag and we're going east, north,
Okay.
south, west, and we just roll. Oh, look at that place over there. That looks cool, and we'll whip off and we'll go check it out. It's getting
So
late.
what's
We'll
some of the
just get a
neatest
hotel.
things? What's some of the neatest things you've seen doing that?
Man, a bear run right across from us. Yeah, down in Virginia. Yeah. We're riding along and, what's this place called? Skyline Drive. Some people might be familiar with that. Beautiful, beautiful, place to ride a motorcycle, and we're just cruising along. There it comes right down, right in front of us. I actually have it on video, but I gotta find it. It's on one of my GoPros, and I have to find that, and I've been looking for it, but I have that video of the bear coming right down the mountain, right across in front of us, right over the other side and down. It was like, "Whoa."
And
You know what I
they're
mean?
fast.
That was
See that
that was probably yeah, I mean, he just whoop, whoop, ain't past no mind, whoop, and down the other side was like, "Did you just see
yeah.
that?"
On
Yeah, that's pretty
I
cool.
have 100 I drive 150 miles to work every other week, and, down by Lake Shasta, there's a section that's, I don't know, a couple miles long. I always see bear there. I'll see a bear
Mhm.
there at least twice a year, and, yeah, they're like greased lightning. They just fly out
Yeah, they're just yeah.
chasing something.
I mean, they're so athletic to be so big. It's like, wow, yeah. You
I
don't put
mean,
that thing running after you, you're not getting away.
You're not getting away.
No.
how many bikes do you have?
I have a bike and my wife has a bike.
Okay, so you guys ride separate. Okay.
Yeah, or most of the time, if we're going on long trips, we'll, two up ride. She'll be on the back of mine. But if we're keeping it pretty much local, within, 200 miles, she'll ride her bike.
Are you guys Harley riders or what
Uh,
bike you
she
got?
she used to be. I'm a Harley rider. She used to be a Harley rider, but then she transitioned to the Can-Am Ryker, the three wheel. So she likes
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've got my dad's trike. I've only taken it out a couple times, and I've noticed the difference in the ride is the trike is more of a chill, relaxed kind of ride. The you can't go through curves fast. You can't really have fun on it. So I've got a 2002. It's a green. So I'm kind of new into bikes. Like I said, I just inherited my dad's, and before that, I've had one bike. But it's a Harley. It's got the bags on the side. But yeah, I love the color of it. That's about all. I took the class to get my license, and I think I've been on the bike 7 times in my entire life. So I
Wow.
haven't had a lot of time to get on it, but
Yeah.
So yeah, we should probably put the link in the description also. When you showed the skulls, the sun has to hit it a certain way before you
okay.
start seeing them. Yeah, I thought that
Yeah,
was pretty cool.
if Dirty Bro's got some pictures of his bike, I think it'd be kind of cool to put them in posted.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
We can do
you
that.
could send you some of those photos, I'll send you some of mine. That way you've got my other bike, and you can use them as footage on here.
Well, yeah, either that or just link, and then that way people can go check out your channels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I got pictures there, videos there.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty much
yeah,
that's all I got for you.
yeah. I was gonna say I'm kind of out of that because not really into the bike. I was into the bike thing like 30 years ago, but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, this has been a good interview. I appreciate you coming on, Dirty Bro. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Anytime, man. Appreciate
Appreciate
the
it.
time.
I love watching your lives. Some of the guests you have, or you've
Hmm.
guests on some other people's thing, and it's really smart people. I noticed you have the financial, all the stuff we're talking about.
Hmm.
So if you guys get a chance, you definitely want to go over to Dirty Broke's channel and check it out. And then same for Rich. You've had quite a few unique people on and had some different things other than just Walmart. And so check out his channel. And then, of course, my channel on 20 Plus Trucking. It'll be linked in there also. But yeah, good first interview. Very good.
Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you coming on there. And yeah, if you got anything to say before we go to young people that are getting into truck driving, any advice or anything?
Yeah. Is this me?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, what I try to tell people to do, young people who coming into trucking, is come in with all your endorsements and don't limit yourself. That's the best advice I give.
That's
Yep,
that's good advice.
absolutely. Come in with all your endorsements. Do not limit yourself. And that's it.
Good advice. Yep. All right. Well, sounds good. I guess we can call this a wrap then.
Okay.
And not bad for a first podcast. I think it's going to be good. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
guys that are watching, check out the comments. Put some comments in there. Give us your opinion. Let us know what you want to see. If you thought we should do more questions, more subjects, whatever you think, and we'll take all that in consideration. Uh, all right then. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yep. Look for
See
us
you guys
on
later.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yep. We'll have the links in the description.
Thanks.
Do.